Let the record reflect I'm younger than you are.
Chapleski. I had Barzak for the announcement.
See, I am younger than everyone except you.
I started with
Yeah, well,
Take it away.
it's out of the table.
You're not supposed to.
For breakfast
It's a
one
mom
morning.
thing.
But I was with the mayor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the Common Council to order. I would like to first off extend a special welcome to Troop 89002 from Walker Elementary. They are going to be later helping tour the building. And we will start with our clerk calling the roll.
Alderperson Chapleski.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Excused.
9 present, 1 excused.
We have a quorum. I will now ask the troop to step forward and line up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You can face the flag, though, Shay. Nice job, girls. Thank you, girls. Alderman Chapleski had graciously ceded his time to the troop under strong arm from Alderman May because his daughter was in that troop. Thank you. We'll move right to item D then, public hearings. Madam Clerk, I'll ask you to read our public hearing.
A hearing on the improvement of South 119th Street from West Oklahoma Avenue to West Ohio Avenue.
Mr. Daniels?
Thank you, Mayor Devine. Okay, this is the public hearing for 119th Street. Here is the procedure for the hearing. I'll discuss the project scope and cost. We'll discuss assessment rates and methods of payment. Then at the end, we'll have comments and questions first from the council and then from any citizens affected. Then the hearing will be closed and the project will be referred to the Board of Public Works, which will convene in another room later, and then they'll come back in here later tonight for the final decision. Here are the limits of the project we're talking about from Oklahoma to Ohio. Here's some pictures of the pavement out there. This concrete pavement is from 1961, so it's 55 years old. We typically plan on a pavement lasting about 50 years, so everyone has gotten their money's worth from 1961. There's far too many potholes at this point to try and fill them all. This is very tedious to try and fill this much pothole on these streets. Here's some more pictures. We also in the past have done soil borings out here and have even used ground penetrating radar that has shown very poor soils under here with even 32 to 76% voids or like cavities under the pavement in this area where the base material has substantially eroded away. So we would like to rebuild the road because of what I just said there. It's not worth saving at this point. And there are other problems. The water main from 1961 has 11 either breaks or leaking pipes or leaking joints in it. So we propose to relay the entire water main from 1961. And then the storm sewer, we would also be installing a large portion of the storm sewer, which was never actually done in 1961. And then new sanitary sewer as well. The sewer put in 1961 is actually undersized, so that's not good either. So we would be relaying all the utilities under there and new street light poles and cable. We'd be putting in the LED lights as well. The project will also include the removal and replacement of all the deteriorated curb and gutter and pavement and sidewalk and carriage walks and driveways, as I've said. On-street parking during construction would be provided on neighboring streets. On-street parking permits would not be needed during construction. The police would keep an eye on the neighborhood while the cars are parked on neighboring streets. And importantly, access across 119th Street to the dead end, the people living on the dead end at Lakefield Drive and the dead end on Russ Court would remain open at all times. So those people will be in their driveways, in their garages. They'll be able to get in and out we'll keep a gap in the pavement to allow them to get across the pavement. We've had a lot of complaints over the years about speeding vehicles on 119th Street, so we thought we'd try some new techniques to address that. We did do some speed studies out there, and we found that 85% of the motorists on 119th Street are going 34 miles per hour or under. So that's quite a bit over the speed limit of 25. 85% is the threshold that we look at. There are people obviously going faster than that. 15% of the people are actually going faster than that. So what we plan to do is narrow the streets to promote slower driving speeds, which in turn would reduce the severity of any crashes. Narrower streets have other benefits. They reduce the pedestrian crossing distance. There's less stormwater runoff, and there's less construction materials needed to build the road, so it's actually quite a bit cheaper. So what specifically we plan to do is 119th Street would go from 40 feet to 30 feet north of Lakefield, so that's a reduction of 10 feet. And then from north of Euclid, it would go from 36 to 30, so that's a reduction of 6 feet wide. The rest of the street south of Euclid would remain 30 feet wide as it is today. And in addition to that, we thought we might also try some other techniques like installing a traffic circle, which is really like a little mini roundabout, or maybe chicanes or bump outs, curb extensions, pinch points, chokers. And I have plans if you want to see them. We just think that some of these techniques would be a good idea. Research has shown that these design tools are much more effective at lowering speeds than warning signs or stopping signs, which are ignored, or the use of law enforcement, which would be sporadic. So these would be in place all the time to help slow people down. We have research that shows that a traffic circle does slow people down about 10%, so that would take 3 or 4 miles per hour off of the 34. And then pinch points have been shown to reduce speeds by about 4%. So we're going to try some of these techniques. It will also increase the green space. I think it'll be very attractive, and we'll see how it works. There are some other things I want to tell you about. The project has several sustainability benefits. The gravel used will be 100% recycled crushed concrete from old pavements instead of mining new gravel from quarries. Recycled fly ash from coal electric plants would be used in the concrete to reduce mining for new cement by 30%. New asphalt would be made from 20 to 35% old recycled asphalt pavements to reduce mining and drilling. And then we would put in the new LED streetlights, which reduce electricity by 66%. There are some very large trees on 119th Street, and we intend to preserve them. The sidewalks would be arced on the one side, and as I said, the street would be narrowed on the other side to give the trees more room to thrive. Trees are important because they intercept the rainwater and they help reduce the runoff, or help the runoff to soak into the soil at a slower, more even rate. Takes pressure off the storm sewers and allows for renewal of the groundwater. Trees also provide a host of other benefits like improved air quality, reduced air temperatures, and increased property values. So this is what the new concrete road will look like. New curb and gutter, new sidewalk. I just threw a little picture of a bump out in there so it didn't look like a racetrack. But so aside from the fact that it looks like a racetrack, it would be a new concrete street, and we would have some of these other techniques to slow people down. Here's the cost of the project. Pavement would be $406,000, street lighting $29,000, sanitary sewer $269,000, storm sewer $123,000, water main $276,000. So the total project cost is $1.1 million. And here's where the funding is coming from. There are 6 different sources on this project. The sanitary sewer would be built with sanitary sewer funds, which come from fees that we collect citywide. The storm sewer would be built with stormwater program funds, which come from a citywide fee. The water main would be built with water utility funds, which comes from a citywide fee. Then there would be some general general fund citywide property taxes that we all pay. That's about 17%. That pays for part of the street. And then the residents, the abutting residents, are going to be paying 13% of the project, $142,000. And then we did get a grant from the state, the Wisconsin Municipal Street Improvement Program Fund, which is going to also pay about 10%, and that comes from statewide taxes. Here's a sample special assessment for a typical 95-foot lot. The assessment rate's $55.32. The cost to the homeowner is $5,255. Plus, most people in Orchard Hills also have a driveway that would be $6.90 per square foot. The bills would not be mailed out until March of 2017, so a year from now. Payment options available would include a lump sum payment, 5-year installment plan, 10-year installment plan. So as an example, over a 10-year period, assuming the 4% interest, the first year payment in 2017 would be $736, and the 10th year payment in 2026 would be $547. Here's a little history on special assessments. We have been doing this for over 100 years, actually probably 110 years by now. City residents have historically paid the full cost in the old days of a new street in front of their property because they do enjoy a unique benefit from having this improvement right in front of their property. It does enhance their curb appeal. On this project, the city will collect $142,000, so the special assessments are only about 13% of the total cost. The assessment rate is $55.32 per foot for all residential properties anywhere in the city, no matter how wide the street width is or how high the traffic volumes are or how high the actual bid prices are. We stick to that $55.32, so everyone is treated equally no matter what street in the city they live on. I just wanted to highlight that the Wisconsin state law has allowed for special assessments for over 100 years, and there have been over 100 court cases that I have in a book upstairs that were all ruled in favor, the judges all came down that upheld this law as a fair and reasonable method to recoup the cost of these projects. So this method of special assessments has certainly been around and has stood the test of time for a very long time and numerous challenges over the years. Here's kind of why we do it. The special assessments are the only way to ensure that tax-exempt schools, churches, charities, hospitals, county parks, utilities, railroads pay their fair share too. No one is exempt from special assessments, even though there are 430 properties in the city that do not pay any property taxes. And many of these tax-exempt schools, churches, hospitals, county parks are very large properties and only contribute to the city's costs through special assessments. And furthermore, businesses, corporations, and manufacturers pay a higher assessment rate to ensure they contribute their fair share. So their assessment rate is $69 to $82 per foot. Dealing with Orchard Hills, I just wanted to point out the reason that the bills seem a little bit higher than normal is because the lots in Orchard Hills are 95 feet wide. So this is an actual scale diagram. Typically, most of the lots in West Dallas are about 30 feet wide. And since our special assessments are based on the front footage, you're really getting what you pay for. The larger lot sizes in Orchard Hills are typically 3 times as wide as elsewhere in the city. And as a result, it does cost the city 3 times as much to serve the same number of properties with these larger lots because we have to put in longer pavements, longer water mains, longer sewers, longer street lighting circuits. So special assessments based on front footage ensure that the residents on a 30-foot lot don't pay more than their fair share, and residents on a 90-foot lot don't pay less than their fair share. I just wanted to point that out. Here's a map of everyone who has paid a special assessment in the last 10 years. You can see everyone is paying their fair share throughout the city. Most have already paid for their street or their alley or both in the past 10 years. There are 11 properties on 119th Street that are actually corner properties. I just want to quickly explain that. 5 of these corner properties previously paid for the other side of their property, such as on Russ Court or Burdick Avenue in 2008 or Ohio Avenue in 2011. There's another 6 properties that will be paying for one side of their property this year and maybe another side in a few years. This is not uncommon. There are 10,000 parcels in this city out of the 19,000 parcels that do pay for more than one side of their property, so that's 55%. 3,400 of those 19,000 parcels pay for more than one street, and 7,900 parcels out of the 19,000 pay for their street and their alley, so that's 38%. So how we do that is we give a discount. The long side, say, is 129 feet. Assessment rate is the same, $55.32. That's $7,000. We take 60% off on the long side, so we subtract $4,200, leaving the homeowner with $2,854. And then if you have a question about the interest rate, we do not make a profit on that. The city borrows the funds for this project. The city pays interest to those municipal bondholders over the next 10 years, so the city is merely passing along these interest charges to the residents that choose the 5 or 10-year payment plan. The city is not making a profit off of the interest like a credit card or something. And with that, I will entertain any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Do we have any questions or comments from the members of the Common Council?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel?
just one question for Mr. Daniels. Right now, there's just a sidewalk on the east side
Yes.
of 119th Street, and so we're not expanding, we're not adding sidewalks, but anywhere where the sidewalk is currently deficient, it's going to be
Yes.
replaced and
Yeah, and I
repaired,
think-
and it's no additional charge.
No
to the
additional
property
charge.
owner.
I think we'll be taking most of it out. Most of it,
Most of
maybe
it's
not
being-
all of it.
Most of it's being replaced because it's all 60 years old also.
Well, because the sewer work actually is going to go under some of it, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I just wanted the neighbors to know that we're not planning on putting in sidewalks where there aren't currently any sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May?
I just wanted to quickly applaud the engineering department for finally bringing traffic calming to the city of West Dallas. I think the residents will be pleased with the speed reductions that they'll see. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, are there any members of the audience with questions or comments? Oh, sir?
Oh,
Sorry, if you could use our podium here.
over here,
Not that important. You could always talk to him afterwards as well if you want to.
talk to you out there.
Okay. It's not microphone worthy. Thank you. Does anybody else have comments or questions from the audience? Okay, seeing none, we will close our public hearing. And we will move on to item E on our agendas. Citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on any matters of interest to them. If there is anyone that wishes to address the council under citizen participation, we ask that you use the microphone and the podium here and give us your name and address, as well as signing in either before or after your comments. Does anybody wish to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Seeing none, we will close citizen participation. We will move on to item F on your agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. Those room numbers are listed on page 1 of your agendas this evening. Mayor's report, item G, just a handful of things here. A reminder that the West Dallas Fire Department is having their open house coming up on May 14th from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock. It will be held at Station 2, which is 2040 South 67th Place. They're going to have equipment demonstrations, a Flight for Life demonstration, airbag demonstrations, a lot of demonstrations. And they're going to have a demonstration of putting out a fire at noon. So that is a great family event. There is food. There are a lot of community groups involved. And again, that's 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock on the 14th of May. I want to thank everybody from the community that came out for the community-wide cleanup back on April 16th. We had so many volunteers, they were running out of materials and equipment for people to go out with. I know Judge Murphy was there, Alderman Weigel was there, Alderman Rote was there, Alderman Haas was cleaning up in his own neighborhood. So we had a lot of people out doing a lot of good things for the city that day, and you definitely could see results based on what they hauled out of there. I want to quickly thank the teachers at Irving Elementary for inviting me to participate in their career fair last week. I also want to thank the teachers and students at Walker Elementary last week. Alderman May and I were there with reps from the forestry department, planting a tree in their Arbor Day celebration. And with all the action I saw our teachers in last week at these events, it made me appreciate them even more, and being that it's Teacher Appreciation Week, I just want to take a minute to thank all the teachers in our community that are forming and improving the lives of our youngsters. We really, I think, underestimate what you do and the hours you put in, and I just want to give a shout out to them as well. That concludes the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any alderperson's reports?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Probst.
I want to give a shout out to the West Dallas Fire Department for, on the same day as the citywide cleanup, the West Dallas Fire Department spent most of Saturday and Sunday of that weekend installing fire detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in the 2nd District. So a great shout out to them. They installed hundreds on that particular day with a few assists from a couple of the aldermen. So big shout out to the fire department.
Thank you. Any other reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Chaplesky.
Last month, we had the election, and we had extremely high turnout. And I just want to thank all our poll workers, our clerk's office, and public works people that work there, because it went off, so good and without any real problems. And I just want to give them an extra thank you, because they did a lot of hard work on a very long day. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman. Are there any other reports?
Mayor Devine,
Alderperson Reinke.
just a couple things I want to mention. Last Saturday night, I attended the wonderful production, Sound of Music at Nathan Hale High School. So often we just hear the negative about students. There were approximately 100 students that took part in this play, and it was absolutely marvelous. They all did such a nice job, and I want to congratulate their director and also every student that participated. They certainly were deserving of our accolades, and we certainly appreciate them at this time. Also, I also want to mention this last Wednesday was Administrative Professional Day, and I have to thank Rebecca Grill, our city administrator, for hosting the luncheon. The food was wonderful as well, and also I want to thank the professionals who attended the luncheon, and also John Stable, who provided a special door prize for these participants. It was really a grand affair, and again, thank you to Rebecca Grill for putting it together for our people.
Thank you. Any other alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May?
I think you may have left this one for me, but I'm not quite certain.
I don't know. I might have forgotten it.
I'm just going to say thank you. I'm going to assume you did. On Monday, May 9th, from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus on 92nd
Oh, yeah.
Street, we'll be having a meeting for Reservoir Park Playground and the planning thereof. Mayor Devine will be there, Alderman Barzak, and myself, as well as planning development staff and our parks consultant. So we'd like you to come out, give some input where you'd like to see things go with that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of April 4th, 2016.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman May. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving to item J on our agendas, items not referred to committee, I'll ask for a motion to place item 3 on file and refer items 4 through 6 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Probst, second by Alderperson Reinke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item K, standing committee reports, Safety and Development Committee.
Mayor Devine, I'll report that out after recess.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that the council stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderperson Reinke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in recess.